You are about to spend upwards of $60,000 on a Ford F-150. You've picked the trim, the color, the interior. But long before you sign the contract, you have to check a single box that will dictate your repair bills and driving experience for the next decade. Do you want the 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 or the legendary 5.0-liter Coyote V8? If you listen to the sales pitch on the lot, they will frame this as a simple choice. Buy the EcoBoost if you want to save on gas, and buy the V8 if you want raw power. The real-world data tells a very different story. In daily driving, both of these engines average around 17 to 18 miles per gallon combined. Hook up an 8,000-pound trailer, and both of them will immediately drop down into the single digits. Because the fuel economy is practically a wash, making the right choice means ignoring the Eco badge entirely. You have to look at the mechanical reality of how these two blocks actually generate their power. To understand that difference, we need to look past horsepower. This chart maps out torque, the twisting force required to pull a heavy camper. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost achieves 500 pound-feet of torque, hitting that peak at just 3,100 RPM. On the highway, this translates to diesel-like performance. You can merge with heavy loads and pull steep grades without the engine screaming. The 5.0-liter V8, on the other hand, produces 410 pound-feet of peak torque, and you don't access it until the engine hits 4,500 RPM. The EcoBoost delivers absolute convenience when you have thousands of pounds hooked to the hitch. But that low-end shove comes at a steep structural cost under the hood. To generate that massive low-end torque out of a relatively small 3.5-liter block, Ford uses twin turbochargers to forcefully cram compressed air into the cylinders. If you regularly drive through high mountain passes, this forced induction is a massive advantage. It physically prevents the engine from suffocating in the thin air. But the physical trade-off of cramming all that pressurized air into a small space is heat. Under heavy load, those twin turbos generate massive amounts of localized engine heat. Over time, that intense thermal stress accelerates wear on complex internal components. This is exactly what leads to the early generation EcoBoost's notorious timing chain stretch and expensive cam phaser rattles. The EcoBoost is a masterpiece of towing technology, but you must be disciplined about your maintenance. If you push past 5,000-mile oil changes, those turbos will cook the oil and your wallet will pay the price. The 5.0-liter Coyote V8 is the mechanical purist's alternative. It's a naturally aspirated engine, free of turbochargers, intercoolers, and miles of pressurized plumbing. Without turbo spooling up, the V8 provides a linear, highly predictable buildup of power as you press the pedal, and it rewards you with that legendary, throaty American exhaust rumble. Hooking up an 8,000-pound trailer to the Coyote means the 10-speed transmission has to constantly downshift. On steep grades, the RPMs will scream past 4,000 just to find the torque it needs. To a turbo driver, that high RPM roaring sounds like the truck is struggling to survive. In reality, that is exactly where a naturally aspirated V8 is designed to operate safely. With the V8, you willingly sacrifice the effortless low-end shove of a turbocharged truck to guarantee you have drastically fewer moving parts that can break. But mechanical simplicity does not guarantee invincibility, and the Coyote block is not without its own historical engineering hiccups. For instance, if you look at a 2018 to 2020 model, Ford used a new cylinder liner coating process that caused severe oil consumption issues for a significant number of owners. And on the newest generations, Ford has introduced cylinder deactivation to meet emission standards, artificially adding complexity to an otherwise simple block. To plot the long-term risk profiles, we can map mechanical complexity against strict maintenance discipline. While both have quirks, the V8 sits firmly in the lower complexity quadrant, carrying less financial risk as the odometer climbs toward 100,000 miles. This brings us back to the marketing myth of the Eco badge. Delivering V8 towing power with V6 fuel efficiency is physically impossible when the truck is doing real work. When the turbos force excess air into the cylinders to pull a load up a hill, the engine's computer has to match it. It must immediately dump excess fuel directly into the chamber to keep the mixture safe and generate that raw power. The harsh real-world data confirms this. Hook up a large enclosed trailer, and both the V8 and the EcoBoost will plummet to an abysmal 6 to 9 miles per gallon. You may save 1 or 2 miles per gallon driving an empty EcoBoost on flat highways, but that tiny margin is nowhere near enough to justify the purchase on its own. Since fuel economy shouldn't be the deciding factor, your final decision strictly relies on mapping your specific towing weight against your intended length of ownership. Let's replace dealership hype with a strict scenario matching system. It starts with one vital question: how long are you keeping this truck? If you sell within the 60,000-mile warranty window and frequently tow heavy trailers, your outcome is the 3.5-liter EcoBoost. For this specific profile, the Turbo V6 is the ultimate tool. You get unmatched half-ton capability, and you get to enjoy it without carrying the long-term financial risk of out-of-warranty turbo replacements. If you are financially protected by a warranty and demand effortless pulling power, the EcoBoost is the undisputed champion. Our second profile views their truck as a decade-long investment. You plan to drive well past 100,000 miles. You use it for daily driving, hauling lumber, or occasionally towing lighter boats. For you, the answer is the 5.0-liter Coyote V8. You must accept a compromise. The engine will rev louder and shift harder on steep hills, lacking that instant, powerful low-end turbo shove. But you accept that mechanical compromise as a victory for peace of mind. You know you won't face a catastrophic, out-of-pocket turbo replacement bill in year 7. Ultimately, you need to ignore the marketing badges stamped on the tailgate. There is no universally superior engine here. There is only the right engine for your specific financial timeline and your personal risk tolerance.